in a bonus round of the Lotus Challenge, round 11. And we have an absolute stunner guaranteed for you today. It may not be an official round of the Lotus Challenge, but with the backing of the AA on the day and cars from all over the country, we have an absolute bumper field of Lotuses for you over the course of not only the Friday but the Saturday as well. 2 days of racing, 3 heats and incredible dices guaranteed. This bonus round brought to you proudly and with our massive thanks to African Packaging and Water Supplies, CSI, Control Systems Integration, Elite Racing, Race Car Rental, Maintenance and Building, and Strap King. These guys have been supporting us throughout the entirety of 2025, and we cannot thank you enough for bringing us all this incredible racing action. Plus, people coming in from the coast. We've got people coming in from Durban, from PE, and from Cape Town as well. It's going to be an absolute bumper family affair of wheel-to-wheel racing here at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. Without further ado, let's line up, let's get the show on the road, let's get racing, get out there on a track that looks to be quite slippery, quite wet. This could be an interesting race one. On board with Jeff Gable now as we wait for the lights out, and away we go on pole position. Jeff having an absolutely stunning qualifying. You can see from behind David Jeremy, we've got a number of cars absolutely blitzing through the field. That looks to be a returning Sean Hewitt getting a rocket ship of a start off the line in Class B. You can see just how many cars there are out here at Kyalami today. A wonderful, wonderful return to this incredible track. We get to see it literally once a year, and brilliant to be here once more. On board with Nick Hodgson trying to go around the outside of David Jeremy, though absolutely nothing happening. Nick having qualified on the front row of the grid in the wet conditions earlier today, and trying to make hay while the sun is slightly shining. It's going to be interesting to see how many of these B classes he can keep off his back. Sean Hepburn, though, is all over the back of Ruan van der Vault in the Class L car. There's a little bit of a Class L battle as we go through Sunset. Is he going to make it stick? Oh, we got Clive Wilmot sticking his hand up already. Looks like 2 cars off, in fact. I can't quite see who that is up ahead, but it looks like 2 cars already off, pulling off the track nice and safely. Well done, lads. I've got to keep it safe for everyone. David Jeremy and Sean Hewitt going side by side. Unfortunately, haven't seen any of Sean this year, but he is back, and we certainly hope that he's going to be back in force for next season. Ruan van der Vault now all over the back of Sean Hepburn. Sean just managing to squeeze through there on Sunset. As we come up to the top of the hill, we now have Jeff Gable and JP Norkier battling for the overall lead of this race. Of course, we've got a Class B, a Class L, and a Class X all involved in this one single race. Zoom, and there you can see one of the X Class T's absolutely flying past Davide Favo there, and taking part in Class X will be all the old Class T and Class A, and anybody coming from different series around the country. Davide Favo, though, getting into the rhythm and looking to try and attack Andy Fulton. On board now with Jean de Toy. As you can see, the Class T car coming screaming past him, and David Jeremy coming screaming past JP Norkier. Something must have happened, as you can see the stricken car of Clive Wilmot pulled off to the side there. On board once again with Nick Hodgson as they come up and over that little tricky left-hander that can so easily catch you out. And there's that Class T once again working his way all the way from the back of the grid, unable to qualify, and just working his way through. You can see just how many puddles there still are all over this racetrack. It rained super heavily in qualifying, and that provided interesting opportunities for a completely mixed grid. Of course, the grid here at Kyalami is not being set by class, it is being set by pure lap time, as there are no championship points involved. But look at these guys going wheel to wheel. Jean de Toy sticking a hand out there and saying, jeepers, chap, we can go side by side if we want to. Oh, but that's for David Jeremy's car, just stuck on the side of the racetrack there. We're losing guys a little bit like flies at the moment. Jean de Toy getting once more overtaken by Sean Hepburn. Rowan van der Walt trying to get in on the action there as well, tucked in that slipstream, almost a double slipstream for him down the long start finish straight here at Kyalami. We now have on board with David Jeremy. We can see a replay here of him just pulling off, and that's really unfortunate as it's allowed JP Norkia and Jeff Gable all the way through, and that's going to be his race done and dusted. Here we have Jean de Toy once more on the back of Sean Hepburn, trying to make the absolute most of that slipstream. Sean taking a much wider line through what is effectively for us Lotus's turn 1 is in reality technically turn 2, but you can see Clive Wilmot's car there being recovered now, and Jean de Toy tucking into the slipstream. Jeff Gable though got the lead back, but here comes once again our Class T car, the absolute powerhouse, flying around. But look how much extra grip Jeff Gable has, going through the S's, but just unable to beat back on that par. Having a wonderful outing at the moment is Jeff Gable. We saw from last year Jeff has been incredibly solid around Kyalami, one of his strongest tracks, and with it, spoiler alert, Kyalami coming back for a return to the championship for next year. You can be sure that Jeff is going to be absolutely targeting that round, which will be the final round of the year, as a place to pick up a huge number of points. Andy Fulton though picking up a huge slipstream now on Rowan van der Walt, getting himself back into this race after a bit of a tricky start. You can see we've got a little bit of almost an F1 style DRS train here behind Sean Hepburn as we go down the hill, down the mine shaft, and looking for oh my goodness, we've got the Class T pulling off, and that's really unfortunate for them, having led for a bunch of this race now and worked their way back all the way from the back of the grid. You can see just how close these Class L guys are. I tell you what, the Class L in the Lotus Challenge really does provide consistently across the entire field the closest racing we have out there, and Rowan van der Walt right now tucked up behind Jean de Toy, a man famous for making his Class L car wider than any other in the entire field. Rowan taking a traditional line through the bottom of the mine shaft. Here we go, and it doesn't look like he's been able to get that switchback, but now Jean de Toy having to really defend hard on this on the start finish straight. Down we go into Crowthorne, and Andy Fulton brave on the brakes up the inside. Luckily Jean sees him 3 wide. You can see Andy's eyes were just on stalks there, having to try and figure out who's going to go where, and somehow out of all of that Jean de Toy has managed to keep that position all to himself, and Rowan van der Walt now is having to defend super hard from Andy Fulton. He knows if he doesn't get this move done and dusted, Andy is going to be all over the back of him and having and nipping at his heels, trying to get that position from him. Side by side as we now go down the mine shaft once more on lap 5, and in the slipstream here we go through this left-hand sweep, absolutely flat. These guys do not need to lift at all in dry conditions. Rowan van der Walt super late on the brakes, but Jean de Toy has that slightly better line. I have a feeling there's a little bit more grip, possibly a little bit drier, and Rowan unable to go around the outside. But here we go once more. We're going to have to see 3 wide into turn 1 again. Let's have a look. Into Crowthorne we go. Jean de Toy taking super wide line. Andy Fulton all the way up the inside, having taken that double slipstream. You can see Sean Hepburn just ahead, scampering away a little bit now with these 3 guys squabbling amongst themselves and trying to sort out who is going to be where. But Jean de Toy has now lost 2 positions in that fight, but you can be absolutely sure he's not going to take that lying down and will be back for more. Jeff Gable out front now, leading this race outright after the Class T retirement, and Jeff is now flying down the mine shaft. You can see just how quick these Class B cars go, and into the braking zone we go hard on the brakes, nice and smooth on that wheel. A little bit of squirrely action on the exit, but doing very well to keep that Class B car nice and level. Jean de Toy though level now with Rohan van der Walt. Once more these guys going through this extremely scary right hand kink almost side by side. We saw Jean and Sean doing that earlier in the race. Probably the scariest corner on this track, because if you hit that inside curb, it is absolutely going to break the suspension of one of these Lotus cars. It really is a vicious curb, but both guys getting through nicely, and Rohan tucking into the slipstream. Jean going for the inside line, protecting that position, having to brake slightly earlier though. Let's see how it turns out as we get through the corner. Rohan just tucking in and getting a switchback move going, but Jean able to carry some extra speed and keeping that position, or getting that position back, I should say, having fallen behind Rohan. And now Rohan getting a great run out the corner, and in a little bit of a slipstream is going to try and sweep round the outside of Sunset. Will it happen? Fast right-hander in these Lotus cars. You almost don't need to brake. You basically just brake just to get a little bit of pressure on those front wheels, turn the car in and slam back on that throttle. Davide Favo now in a battle with a new entrant, a fantastic new entrant to Lotus Challenge Racing. Car built by Fred Alberts, raced by Fred Alberts for a number of years, and now driven by Lee Foster, a man who has been in our sim racing community for a long time, and brilliant to have him on board. As you can see, Jeff Gable waving his hands across the line and just trying to work out what's going on here. I tell you what, this race does seem to be going on for an awful lot longer than most Lotus Challenge races do. Jeff now working his way through back markers as we see some of what would theoretically be classed, I think, as Class C up in the Northern Regions Championship, because they have lights and so forth. But in X at the moment, you can see a nice little battle between these guys as Jeff works his way through. You can see a hand just sticking out. Off you go, come on through, my friend, and sweeps through Sunset and avoids those puddles there. Crucially, Jean de Toy and Rohan van der Walt once again battling super hard. Rohan again trying that outside line, forced into it though, to be fair, by Jean, who goes early for the inside line. But with that slipstream, Rohan just has so much extra speed, so much overspeed on Jean that time around, that he's flown through. Andy scampering away up ahead. Now we've got Nick Hodgson, top of Class L at the moment, coming through on Sean Hewitt. Something wrong there with Sean's car. He was showing prodigious pace at the beginning of this race. As I said, we are on lap 9. That is a huge number of laps. You can see Jeff Gable waving his hands. I'm pretty sure it's because they are running this race way longer than expected. We usually see about 15 to 20 minutes worth of racing in Lotus Challenge. We are getting a bumper race, and these guys are going to be absolutely worried about running out of fuel. They're going to be petrified of running out of fuel. I wonder if that's happened to Sean Hewitt already. I wonder if that, because we didn't see any smoke, we didn't see anything untoward from that car. There was certainly nobody around him at the time, so no contact or anything. But I wonder if he ran out of fuel, and these guys are really in a perilous position of making it towards the to the end of the race. We can see their flag waving. That could be for the last lap of the race. Not quite sure. Couldn't see it properly from the camera, but there we go. Lee Foster steaming through, and on Jean and Rohan, who have not been able to separate themselves. There we can see the stricken Sean Hewitt just trying to make it to the end of the race now, and these guys are going side by side all the way through. They are used to running this track side by side by now, as they just haven't been able to sort out who is going to finish ahead of the other. What a fantastic battle they've both had. And once again, Jeff Gable going across the start-finish line, extremely frustrated. He's clearly worried about running out of fuel. These cars typically will take, or depending on the fuel tank and of course how much fuel they have provisioned for themselves, will take approximately an absolute absolute maximum of about 15 litres. So really, while these cars don't use a huge amount of fuel, it must be said, to not predict that is going to be very, very tricky. These guys, though, are absolutely not worried about fuel saving whatsoever, and are just trying to sort that position out as Nick Hodgson flies past somebody else. Could be a back marker, although it could also be somebody running out of fuel. You can see lap 11 now. This is incredible how long this race is lasting. And you can see why potentially a lot of these drivers are getting frustrated. But look at this. Jean de Toy and Rohan van der Walt are really providing us with an absolute cracker, a corker of a race. Indeed, down the mine shaft we go. Looking back from Jean de Toy, you can see somebody else pulling over there and probably possibly running out of fuel. Another car. Really a lot of guys starting to struggle now. And this has allowed Jean de Toy to break a little bit of a toe on Rohan van der Walt. I would have expected Rohan to be much closer behind Jean. And across the line we go once more. So much frustration for Jeff Gable. But he is still going. Jeff is still managing to get himself around this track. Andy Fulton, here we go. Just a little bit unhappy there, Andy. I'm not sure quite what that was about. A shake of the head. But here we see a replay from Rohan's point of view as we go down through the mine shaft. That ninja car, and into the braking zone. Rohan just able to outbrake and come around and be all over the back of Jean de Toy once more. And here we go for on board with Davide Favo, also making his way through the back markers / people running out of fuel. It's difficult to tell at this stage. And it's become more of an endurance race. I wonder if some of these guys are going to start to lift and coast as we see. I think that might be Lee pulling off, possibly having run out of fuel. Not sure what's gone on there. It's very difficult to tell now without knowing. And there's Jeff Gable putting out his hand, and JP Norkia steaming through on Jeff. I assume this isn't checkered flag, and this is in fact Jeff running out of fuel and really taking it super, super slow. My goodness, we're back with Rohan and Jean. These guys are so close to each other. They just cannot sort out who's going to be crossing that eventual start-finish line ahead of the other. Here we go, Jeff Gable across the line. Is he going? He's weaving a little bit. I'm not sure what that's all about, but Jeff just crossing the line, and there's the checkered flag. Finally, just about makes the cross. You can see a 2:26 for Jeff, an incredibly slow lap on his last lap. And there's Nick Hodgson just going past one of our latest entries to Class L, and that's it, the end of race 1. Let's take a look at those results. Right, so some fantastic racing in race 1, but we are going to have to do a bit of a count back and take that race to 10 laps. So in first place we have Jeff Gable, followed by JP Norkia and Nick Hodgson in Class L coming across for an overall third, followed by Sean Hepburn, Andy Fulton and Lee Foster. Fantastic results for those guys, and brilliant racing all round. Now, after that chaotic race 1, let's hear from the drivers.
Kyalami is magic. It's fast, it's flowing, it's high commitment. It's such a treat for us to come here every year. I was fortunate enough in the damp, wet qualifying that I qualified on pole. It was quite a big group behind. I managed to get a decent start, came through the first few corners in the lead, managed to keep the lead until maybe lap 3 or 4, where Glenton Robello in his Class T car came screaming past just before the S's. It's impressive to see how quick those machines are. And then with the race, pushing, but watching the laps. I'd expected the race to be 6 or 7 laps. 4 or 5 laps in, they put out a board that said 8 laps left. And I knew I did not have enough fuel for that. So going past the start-finish line, I kept waving at them. I don't know, they must think I'm the most friendly person ever.
Well, you are Canadian, too.
I wasn't feeling super friendly in the helmet, to be very honest. Fuel safe for the last few laps. Ran out on a final lap before the checkered flag, so JP got me, but we counted back. Just superb. So a big thank you to Dunlop in ATS. A big thank you to the AA, who's sponsored fabulous food and drinks for us. Can't wait for race 2 and race 3 tomorrow.
And with those amazing words from Jeff Gable ringing in our ears, it's time for the drivers and mechanics and everybody involved to prep those cars and get ready for race 2 on the Friday of our bonus edition Kyalami 2025. With the sun setting for race 2 on board with David Jeremy as he drives out the pits, you can see just how gorgeous this place is, and everybody is ready to rock for the last race of the day. And with just a brief interlude as Ruan van der Valt's car gets going, we are ready to ride, waiting for those lights to go out. And it's visor down for Jeff Gable, dumping the clutch, and off he goes, wheels spinning frantically. Oh, David Jeremy at the back of the grid just manages to avoid, but Johan and Tim running straight into the back of Barry. There's something gone wrong there. As you can see, Gijs van der Walt also just manages to avoid the carnage. There was at least 3 or 4 cars involved in that. I wonder if we'll get a replay from Barry's perspective to see what happened. But as we're on board with Gijs van der Walt going down into turn 1, switching to Jeff Gable as he goes around the outside of absolutely everybody and gets back into the lead of this race. Ruan van der Walt, though, having had a few mechanical maladies on the grid, is ready to go once more and going at it, hammer and tongs. As you can see, Clive Wilmot just ahead, and of course our friend Jean de Toy looking, and you see Nick Hodgson just diving out the way to avoid one of the turbo cars coming through. Looks like Sean Hepburn just up ahead of him as we go through Sunset. You can see exactly why it's called Sunset, as that sun is directly in our eyes and making it very, very difficult to see this late on the day in Kyalami. David Jeremy, though, having absolutely everybody streaming past him, and I think once more David has been besotted by another mechanical malady. Nick Hodgson, though, going wheel to wheel with Clive Wilmot, who squeaks through on the inside of the S's. You can see Gijs van der Walt in his mirrors. Let's see how that plays out. Ruan van der Walt can't see anything as you come up to the top of the hill, though. On the brakes, down into second gear, turn the car in and get back on that power. And once more we can finally see Nick Hodgson, though, seeing a little gap between himself and Clive Wilmot, trying to find his way through on the Class B, and not quite managing to do so just yet as we go through this dangerous little kink and flat out before the last corner. All we can see, it looks like our ninja friend is once more pulled over to the side, possibly with some sort of mechanical malady there, and Gijs van der Walt manages to squeak through on the inside. It looks like Jean de Toy is now all over the back of Nick Hodgson as Nick is trying to get a great little toe down the start-finish straight. On board now with Gijs van der Walt as he's looking to attack those cars ahead of him, shaking his head slightly, possibly just trying to find a way to see with this sun just really getting all of these drivers' eyes. But round the outside on the left-hander, that's a fantastic move there from Gijs, and moves up a position, but the turbo kicks in and that car absolutely flies away from him down the straights, and on those slick tires should be easily ahead soon enough. Now you can see Nick Hodgson trying to come up on the inside. Jean de Toy all over Nick Hodgson and gets round him, and through the S's they go. Jean now tucks in behind Gijs. We can see Davide Favo in the background. Davide in a spare car for this weekend, having found a cracked chassis just a day before Kyalami, but never giving up, finding another car to race. And with us today, fantastic to see. And behind him is Andre Duplessis with all of Davide in front of him and trying to make a move there, as we see Nick Hodgson now attacking the back of Jean de Toy and Gijs van der Walt as we go through the mine shaft, down the mine shaft, through this sweeping left-hander, flat sticks on the throttle and into the braking zone. Nick taking a more traditional line, Jean using that defensive line that he used so effectively with Ruan van der Walt in race 1. And on board with Ruan van der Walt now, all over the back of Andy Fulton, trying to get up to this chasing lead pack of Class L. Looks like he's got that move done and dusted. Sean Hepburn now going side by side with so close as they go through. corner 2, what effectively is corner 1 for us, and into this next little section. We'll be looking to pick up a nice slipstream as we go down towards sunset. Oh my goodness, once again, that sun really getting in Sean's eyes. It looks like we're going to have Clive Wilmot all over the back of Sean now, and he flies through that extra power, really helping out on Kyalami being such a fast circuit. These guys, particularly in Class L, are flat sticks on that throttle for most of this lap, and they really are taking a lot of these corners flat out and not letting anything slow them down. It really is all about momentum here and keeping up any speed that you possibly can have through the S as we go now. Clive Wilmot just ahead of us. Ahead of that looks to be, I can't quite see who that is in the sun. Look at this. There are 3 cars ahead of Sean. You can't see any of them. How are these guys going to pick out their braking markers? It's going to be interesting to see. Oh! And just as I say, Sean makes a mistake, gets unsighted by that sun, and is just thrown off into the gravel. That's effectively given the lead of Class L now to Jean de Toy, who's holding off Nick Hodgson as we go into turn 1. Nick is taking that narrower line, runs out wide to block Jean off, and looks to have got that move done, and is now pressuring later on in the lap. On lap 4, Gijs van der Walt, we are going to have 10 laps here today at Kyalami. Once again, another bumper race. Really long races here for these guys, and they are absolutely loving it. Now that everybody knows what the deal is, it's going to be brilliant racing from start to finish. No one managing the... oh, wow, Gijs van der Walt so close to running into the back of Clive Wilmot. I was saying no one is going to be managing fuel here today. Everybody is going to be absolutely flat out. And here we go once more. Sean Hepburn now recovering, attacking Andy Fulton. These 2 guys have been going at it hammer and tongs the entire season, wheel to wheel the whole way, and why should it be any different at Kyalami? David Jeremy seems to have got going again. Fantastic. He's not out of it just yet, and going side by side with Andre Duplessis. So close. These guys are used to running really tight to each other, and great to see such brilliant racing amongst all of the classes. You can see Nick Hodgson is unable to pull out and try and move on Gijs van der Walt, and just has to allow David Jeremy to rocket his way through, and into sunset we go through this fast right-handed turn, and just tucking in behind David Jeremy. You can see that Andre Duplessis has worked his way through Jean de Toy and is now eager for a win here at Kyalami, and is attacking in through the S's. David Jeremy now attacking both Clive and Gijs up ahead. And once again, look at the sun. How are these drivers going to pick out their braking markers? Hopefully they manage it a little bit better. And David going on the inside line. Interesting whether that was just to make sure that he could see where he was going, or to try and unsight Gijs ahead. We will have to ask him after the race. But I tell you what, down the mine shaft we go. Interesting that he's not really using that slipstream, but Gijs van der Walt super brave on the brakes and makes a move stick there at Desi. I tell you what, you can't go 3 or 4 wide at Desi. You can at Kyalami, the trip, and these guys are Kyalami and having the race no problems whatsoever. Nick Hodgson goes through, David Jeremy goes through, Gijs van der Walt all over the back of Clive Wilmot, who locks up into the last corner. That must give Gijs a run on Clive as he runs all the way to the outside, and then some more. Look at this, 3 wide as they go down the long start-finish straight. Nick Hodgson on the outside in Class L will absolutely lose out to the Class B power, and that will give David Jeremy the chance to now go up on the inside. Gijs van der Walt having got past Clive Wilmot, and now trying to defend from David Jeremy, who has been recovering and struggling from multiple mechanical maladies all the way through the weekend, and David just manages to squeak his way through. Wonderful move and racing from all of these guys on board now with Johan van der Walt as he is trying to hold back Sean Hepburn, who is definitely on a bit of a recovery drive here and doing pretty darn well at it, considering up ahead you can see Davide Favo and Andre Duplessis. That is the front of Class L effectively. Gijs van der Walt now is all over the back of Clive Wilmot once more, who has squeaked back through on Gijs and jumping on board now with Davide Favo, who says, Off you go, Sean. I can't really fight you right now, but I will tuck into this slipstream and see if I can have a sneaky move up the inside or around the outside. Is he going to try and go around the outside, down into second gear, a little bit aggressive on that downshift, and the car just gets a little bit out of shape. Now on board with Sean Hepburn as he really is working his way back through the field, trying to make a move on Mario as Jean Toy sweeps through on him and does so very successfully into third gear and looking to use that slipstream all the way down the start finish straight. Nick Hodgson, just about avoiding Jesus, who collects that Strap King Class B car and squeaks through, but Gijs will be looking to make another move on Nick as we go into sunset. He should have a much better speed advantage. We'll take back in on that just now as we have Rowan van der Walt, who is taking a normal line through turn 1 as Davide Favo feels the need to defend and just goes a little bit deeper, and that puts him on the back foot coming out the corner, and Rowan makes a lovely move stick there. Jeff Gable now at the front, top of the pops at the moment is Jeff Gable, and makes his way through on a back marker and down the mine shaft we go, having a race almost all to himself. Rowan van der Walt though is definitely not all to himself at the moment. Once again, got to be in contention today for the driver involved in the most scraps, the most dices, the most dogfights for the day so far. Race 1 entirely spent side by side with Jean de Toy. Race 2 entirely spent side by side with the entire field, it feels like. So now down through the S as we go, looking to pick up that slipstream from Davide Favo. Will he feel brave enough on the brakes to go on the inside, just feeling his way out? Remember, these drivers really can't see a hell of a lot as they go into that turn, that tight left-hander at the top of the hill, down into third gear. Davide Favo does get a better run around the outside, but now is going to be in the slipstream. Rowan van der Walt on Davide. And we see Andy Fulton just sticking his hand out for something happening there. Not quite sure what was going on there, but through the S as we go. And back with Rowan now. So wasn't quite able to get past Davide, but switch back at the bottom of the mine shaft. Thank you very much, he says. I'll have that position. Davide just running a little bit wide. Oh, look at that. How has Andre Duplessis managed to do that? That's the end of the long start finish straight and managed to just go through Gijs. Maybe Gijs has got a bit of a problem. We'll have to check back in later as we see Sean Hepburn now all over the back of Gijs van der Walt, trying to make hay while the sun is shining in everybody's eyes. Through sunset we go, side by side, room for 2 Lotus challenge cars to go side by side. A B on an L and down into the braking zone. Sean Hepburn just using all of his experience to take that narrower line and gets a pretty decent run out as well. Gijs van der Walt definitely looks like he's got a little bit of a problem. Must be nursing some sort of a problem because he's had a few people overtake him in the last couple of corners in that Strap King Class B Lotus Challenge. As we see Mario De Silva now, you can see Gijs putting his hand up in front of his visor, just trying to spot a braking marker and going through. Now we've got Jean de Toy going through on Gijs, really limping around at this stage, shaking his head. Something is definitely wrong, not right. He's probably going to have to retire the car at this stage. As you can see, Rowan van der Walt coming through in that R-Pack car, and Davide Favo now coming through as well. So I think we're definitely going to see Gijs. Oh, hang on, that looked like Gijs had found some power once again. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, Clive Wilmot's off the track. Clive Wilmot's gone off the track, run wide on the exit, and you can see smoke billowing from the rear tires as well. Nick Hodgson says, thank you very much, I'll have that position, but you can be sure that Clive's going to come back here and take Nick on the start finish straight as we go down across the line for a 2:08.79 for Nick Hodgson. And in the slipstream, going to be trying to use all of that extra grunt that the slipstream will give you. And into the braking zone we go. Davide Favo now conceding a position to Andy Fulton. Andy Fulton's really come alive at the end, or towards the end of this race. We haven't seen too much of Andy. Oh my goodness, Davide. Of course, this is not his usual car, not used to running. And every driver gets used to their specific car. Yes, they are all the same spec, but there's nothing quite like your own machine. and Davide maybe just struggling a little bit with that, and Andy Fulton taking full advantage. Nick Hodgson trying to take advantage of this slipstream and attack Clive Wilmot. Oh, that looks like Andre Duplessis in the gravel as we went through on the left-hander, but I tell you what, Johan van der Walt and Jean de Toy all over each other once more. These two guys having the dog fight of the day for sure. There's absolutely no debate on that one, and through we go off and into this next little left-hander. Is Ron going to be able to get a better exit? Doesn't quite look like it. Jean's still taking a very defensive line, doing brilliantly with it. Let's see who is going to end up as we enter round 2 of this ding-dong battle between these two Class L guys. And up the hill we go again. You see there, Ron also going to use his hand to just shield, put a shield over his visor just to try and see where on earth to go. Such tricky conditions. We're used to tricky conditions being in the wet. The tricky conditions are in the sun right now. And Nick Hodgson, though, on the brakes. You can see Clive Wilmot locking up big time. Nick says, thank you very much, Clive. I'm going to have that position from you and go over the line. Oh, we're going to see the checkered flag. This is lap 10. We do see the checkered flag, and Nick Hodgson just squeaking home ahead of Clive Wilmot. On board now with Sean Hepburn coming over the line for a great recovery drive. That's a proper recovery from the AA man. And Gijs van der Walt just managing to get his car across the line. Brilliant to see after all of those problems, and great stuff. Thumbs up from the pit wall as Jeff Gable takes the win. So let's have a look at race 2 results. Right, so for race 2, the confirmation, Jeff Gable coming across the line in first place, followed by JP Nokia and Sean Hewitt having a fantastic recovery race after running out of fuel in race 1. Adrian Leroux coming home for our first place Class X. David Jeremy, Lee Foster in his just second race with Lotus Challenge. Lee Foster in just his second race with Lotus Challenge. Nick Hodgson coming home top of the pops in Class L, followed by Sean Hepburn, Jean Toy and Rowan van der Walt. Wow, after an incredible race 2, let's check in with the drivers and see how they found it.
Johan, Kyalami race 2 didn't go quite as you expected.
Not even close. I got a really good start. Tim was ahead of me and Barry was ahead of him. Got a proper start, and the next moment Tim starts veering left and braking, and I couldn't avoid him, so I hit Tim. And when I hit Tim, I realized that Barry in front had a problem with his start. Apparently Barry said his car jumped out of gear, but there was just nothing I could do. It's just, and pushed him. It was, I pushed him into Barry. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's not bad luck.
Race 2 was very good. I was having some good laps. Bella was lapping quite nicely, but then ended up having 3 laps of misfire, which then just dropped me right back and out of the mix. Sorry, Andy, was
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Started third in Class L, which was 10th on the grid, but I must admit we got up to that first corner and it was pandemonium. Turbo cars on the left, fast cars on the right, and like we dived on turn 1. Managed to get through there, but it was a difficult race with the sun in our eyes, with the sun going down, going up to the top of the mine shaft. Yeah,
it's completely blind.
Completely blind. So
it was braking with the Marshall Tower?
Yeah, the Marshall Tower was breaking the sun and suddenly in your face again. So I must admit, I backed off for 2 or 3 laps. I breathed a bit, got comfortable, but yeah, God willing, we finished. Seems like all the cars are on one piece, and we look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a tough start to the weekend. Didn't do a lot of laps. It's my first time here. The first race went well. I have to say thanks to Pretoria Noord's guys who came all the way here to fix the car up, and then he got it sorted for me, and I had a blast on track.
A lot of damage, but Johan, he had so good start. His start was actually very quick. You can see from his footage, he showed me that there's no way that he could stop.
So here we are, it all comes down to this. You can see people's jackets are wet, it's been raining, it's probably not going to rain for the race, but it is the last race, the last heat for 2025. This is the last round for the entire year. These drivers are going to be giving it absolutely everything. This is the last time they're going to get to go wheel to wheel, and we go racing, lights out, and away we go. Looks like Lee Foster got a horrendous start off the line there. Hopefully he recovers. He is moving though. Jean de Toy there, you can see absolutely flying past him as the whole field comes streaming past. Mario going all the way through on pretty much the entirety of Class L there, using that extra power from the coast all the way down into turn 1. Here we go around the outside. Jean de Toy taking a very cautious line. You can see his nemesis for the weekend, Rohan van der Walt, side by side with him as Mario gets squeezed by both Sean Hepburn and Nick Hodgson, taking normal line. Oh my goodness, Jean de Toy trying to go around the outside here. That almost ended in tears. Jean just about able to collect his car and have Rohan van der Walt tuck in behind him. Rohan shaking his head as wow, you can see that turbo car just coming streaking through the field, and Jeff Gable now in amongst the front runners, of course, and that is the Class T car of Adrian Leroux. But it looks like Jeff Gable is going to go round the outside and take a lovely move, although it looks like Adrian maybe has a little bit of problems going on. You can see just how wet and slippery the track is still, though. We had a lot of rain overnight and the track is struggling to dry out at the moment. On board with David Jeremy, we've got somebody on our outside, but he gets past and looks to then attack Class T Adrian Leroux. Through the S's we go, squeezing on that power. Oh my goodness, you can see just how quickly the Class B is able to get on the gas, and the Class T really has to wait a long time to do so themselves. Sean Hepburn now, and looking through the S's, gets overtaken of Glenton Rebello, and through the S's we go. He's going to absolutely nail the throttle. Wait for it, there it is, off it goes, and Sean Hepburn just has to tuck in behind and hope he gets a nice little pull up the hill. JP Norkier on David Jeremy. We've seen this story play out a few times over the season. David just using that outside line to get a little bit better exit, and down the hill we go. He should be able to pull into a bit of a slipstream as well from Adrian just ahead, and down through the mineshaft you can see just how much the Class T's have to back off through the mineshaft. David, interestingly, feeling the need to take a narrow defensive line. We've probably got JP Norkier all over the back of us at this stage, and Rohan van der Walt all over the back of Jean de Toy. We've seen this throughout the entire weekend, and it is nothing different in race 3, and Rohan tucking in behind Jean de Toy as we go down the mine shaft. Jean using that slipstream ahead, will stay ahead as we go through. Oh, that looks like somebody going on the grass there. It looked like that is Mario going on the grass, and Rohan van der Walt getting a little bit squirrely under braking. Jean de Toy running wide, allowing Rohan to come back at him. Nick Hodgson now, having been overtaken by Glenton, is going to tuck in behind and watch the power. There it is. Glenton is going to streak ahead of pretty much everybody down the start-finish straight. Davide Favo and battling hard in the mid-pack of Class L. Into third gear we go. Are we going to go side by side through the little switchback? We are. And Davide just sweeps through. Oh my goodness, Davide almost lost it. How did he manage to keep that car on the straight and narrow through getting so sideways and getting onto the curbs as well? Fantastic piece of car control from Davide. It looks like Glenton has pulled off. It's clearly something wrong with that car. Once again, it's been a little bit of a fraught weekend for Glenton, but fantastic to have him involved with Kyalami, and Nick Hodgson then looking to attack the Class B's ahead of him. Rohan van der Walt, though, looks to be overtaken by Andy Fulton. There we can see Glenton pulling off from Jean de Toy's perspective, pulling off in a very sensible and nice place, that it means this race can keep going. Sean Hepburn all over the back of Nick Hodgson now. This is the battle for the top of Class L at the moment. Nick Hodgson looks like he was feeling the need to go defensive there. Interesting, through the S's and up we go. He's going to pick up a little bit of a slipstream. It looks like we got Jean de Toy in the rear view mirror of Sean Hepburn, and that means, you know what that means, Rohan van der Walt is not going to be far behind. So very squirrely through the top of the hill here from Nick Hodgson. Sean Hepburn a lot smoother, and that's probably going to help him down the mine shaft. Jeff Gable, though, all the way in the lead of this race once more. Jeff having a fantastic Kyalami once more. Really good at Kyalami is Jeff Gable. I know we've said it before, but proving it time and time again. This track really drying out now. A few wet spots, but nothing that's going to affect these guys whatsoever. Going side by side with Mario Da Silva. Jean de Toy on the inside for this left-hander should have that move done and dusted, but I imagine Mario is going to come back and give him a bit of hard times as we go into sunset with that extra power. The down the long start finish straight, but Davide Favo trying the switchback, not quite happening yet, but will he go around the outside of this little right-hander and up the inside? Oh, we've got a spinner! My goodness, we've got a spinner out of nowhere. That looked like Lee Foster, if I'm not mistaken, and it looks like we've now got Andre Duplessis all over the back of us. Of course, Andre off in the gravel in race 2 and looking to make amends in the slipstream, pulls out, tries to get that move done. Probably we'll have to cut back later as we see Nick Hodgson going around the outside of Clive Wilmot and Sean Hepburn diving up the inside, trying to make a move work there. Doesn't quite work out for him, and Nick Hodgson unable to defend as we go into the S's. Clive sweeping around the outside, and through the S's we go. Nick is going to nail that throttle and try and get a slipstream all the way up to the top of the hill. Andy Fulton having a wonderful, not a recovery drive, but he was certainly starting a lot lower down than he used to for the whole season, and having a wonderful drive at the moment. Look at that, just going up the inside of Jean de Toy. Thank you very much, I'll take that on. Mario Da Silva on the outside is going to have the extra power. Andy is going to pull in for that slipstream, say thank you very much, I'm going to take that, and just ease ahead of Jean de Toy as we go through the mine shaft, and then looking for a hard braking zone on board now with Davide Favo and Andre Duplessis in the background. Oh, looks like Philip has just gone off on the exit there and has allowed Davide to squeak through and gain another position. Ruan van der Walt all over the back of Jean de Toy. Who else? But it does look like Andy Fulton's managed to work his way through. Yes, we saw that pass just now. And Andy is now all over the back of Mario Da Silva and looking to make some more moves. Mario is going to pull him all the way down this straight and help him catch up to the top pack in Class L. Ruan van der Walt saying, I need more, give me more, as we go down into turn 1 and hard on the brakes, down to third, down to second, turn the car in. Jean de Toy locking up all on those brakes, trying to get the maximum performance he possibly can to chase down this front-running Class L pack of Sean Hepburn and Nick Hodgson. Sean Hepburn looking to try and make a move on Nick. Here we go. Mario Da Silva just using that extra power to sweep around the outside. Nick says, I think not, sir. I will have some of that back, please. Up the inside we go. The inside line being dried out a little bit, and now both Sean and Nick still ahead of Mario's. We've got Davide Favo and Andre Duplessis battling super hard. We've got a few cars in the background as well. These guys are not going to be left alone to battle alone, and Davide Favo got Andre Duplessis on the outside of him. He's just about going to be able to squeak through. Andre is going to get a better run, however, and here we go. Is that Lee Foster who's going to come through here? As looks like a Class B. It is a Class B. That's Tennis Portis. It's Tennis Portis just flying through on both Davide and Andre Duplessis as these two continue their titanic battle through sunset and then down into third. Davide sweeps around this left-hander trying to get a better exit than Andre, but Andre's got an absolute storming exit, and it looks like Jean de Toy is now going to storm around the outside of Mario through the exit of the S's. Look at that, and Ruan van der Walt is trying to get in on that action in some way, shape or form as we go down the hill now, down the mine shaft, and Ruan tucking in to get some of that slipstream. Jean de Toy is going to be desperate to keep Mario behind him now to keep off that charge from Ruan van der Walt. Ruan is going to go up the inside of Mario here into the tight right-hander. We can see Jeff Gable losing out there, losing out just slightly to Adrian, and look at that exit. Jeff just gets such a better exit, but the extra power from Adrian is no match for that Class B, and he just has to slot in behind As we can see, Glenton's car there just pulled over on the side. The Class T's are extremely quick, but unfortunately reliability might not always be their strong suit. On board with Jeff Gable, whose strong suit is Kyalami, and sweeps through Sunset using all of the track, absolutely all of the track, and then down into what looks to be third gear over this little left-hander, and really pressuring. It's incredible to see Class B able to keep up with an ex-Class T. Sean Hepburn keeping up with Nick Hodgson and tries to go round the outside down into this hard braking zone of Crowthorne and try to sweep around the outside. Nick Hodgson, you can guarantee, is going to be on the inside and just trying to make this stick, but Sean has made it work. He's got past. He's in provisional first place in Class L at the moment as we're on lap 4. Nick Hodgson getting a great exit though from the left-hander and looking to run side by side with Sean Hepburn. Who's going to give the corner up? Who's going to give it up? Neither driver's going to give it up. Nick Hodgson is just trying to make this car work around the outside. You can see the rear tires just protesting the entire way around, but has somehow managed to sweep around the outside of Sean Hepburn. Davide Favo on Andre Duplessis once again. Who is going to come out in this amazing battle between these two guys? Down to second gear, using that outside line, should get a little bit of extra speed as we come out of the corner, but Andre Duplessis is a nose ahead, but Davide Favo attacking the curb and making a move stick. Has he made it? No, Andre is still there. He should run around the outside with more speed, but Andre is there and not going to give this position up in any way, shape or form. Into fourth gear we go. Is this going to be a repeat of Sean and Nick? My goodness, look how close these two guys are, running wheel to wheel with each other, and Davide really making that inside line work for him, but Andre has the inside line for the next course for Clubhouse and doesn't work out for Davide. He will have to regroup and try again. We've got two cars behind us now. I think that might be a recovering Lee Foster who had that spin. I just see a little bit of orange on those front fenders. Could be Lee. Let's see how it goes out. And two hands up. Oh, we've got a slow car that looks like Rochelle Duplessis. Unfortunately, just with some more mechanical maladies and having to pull off onto the side of the track. Both guys getting through. Sean Hepburn now trying to get through on Nick Hodgson. Nick Hodgson takes the normal line through this bottom corner, and that's very brave to see. Does he get the switchback? He looks for a switchback. Of course he looks for a switchback. And Sean Hepburn trying desperately to now defend this position. Are we going to see side by side through the kink? No, not quite. Nick Hodgson just tucks in behind. I bet you he's looking for the slipstream. That's absolutely what he's going to look for. Try and nail the exit of this last corner and powered his way through onto lap 5 out of 10. Here we go, Jeff Gable still trying to attack our Class T. Oh, looks like we have another slow Class T. Yes, that seems to be yet another retirement. And as we say that, we've got Andy Fulton trying to attack both Sean and Nick. Goes up the inside. Oh, not quite able to get on the brakes hard enough, and locks up and goes through both of them. Luckily, both Sean and Nick saw that coming, said, "It's okay, Andy, you lock up, son, you go wide, we will cut back on you," and get that move, get those positions back. Rowan and Jean again. Once more, these guys running side by side into turn 1, into Crowthorne we go, and Jean Toy just about sweeps through on Rowan. Rowan looking for the switchback, not happening just yet. And this looks like Nick Hodgson is going to try and go around the outside on lap 6 of Mario Da Silva, round through that was Sunset, and into Clubhouse we go. Is this going to be a move done and dusted? Looks like it. Nick Hodgson once more ahead of Mario. Mario's going to come back. Nick says, "I don't think I'll have any of that from you today, sir." And we'll see how that pans out just now as we got Rowan Thunderbolt and Jean de Toy once more going side by side. I swear these two guys think that racing is done side by side the entire way round track. They are unsure what to do on their own. They're just so close together this entire race weekend. Oh, is that a flapping fender? It looks like we've got a flapping fender from Rowan van der Walt. I'm not sure if that is a contact cause or if that is just wear and tear, but we haven't seen any contact from these two guys. But you can see that fender is flapping all over the place. Hopefully it doesn't come off and cause any kind of damage. Luckily it is on that left hand side, so it's unlikely to flip up and hit the driver at least. Andy Fulton now, having recovered from that almost half spin, is once again in behind both Nick Hodgson and Sean Hepburn. Sean again trying to go around the outside, making it work out for him through this little kink, and Nick Hodgson just tucking in behind and hoping for a slipstream. But now Mario Da Silva ahead is going to help Sean Hepburn as we go down this long start finish straight. And on we go, on the power, and Andy Fulton is going to get a double slipstream once again, almost a triple slipstream with Mario ahead, but that's it. That's the checkered flag. Can you believe it? Sean and Nick coming home almost for a photo finish. Jean de Toy now, and Rowan van der Walt, who is going to sort this one out. And it's side by side as we go across the line. It looks like Rowan is just going to squeak ahead of Jean. What phenomenal racing from these two guys. Thumbs up from Jean de Toy, Davide Favo and Andre Duplessis. Also, two drivers that just haven't been able to sort it out, but it's diving down the inside of the last corner on the last lap is Davide Favo. Is he going to make it stick? No, he's not. Andre Duplessis is just going to squeak ahead. What a brilliant dice from these two guys. Hands up, thumbs up. What amazing racing from everybody involved, and what a brilliant event this was for Lotus Challenge. Alright, and after race 3, the final race for our Kyalami outing, let's check and see what the results are. Jeff Gable coming home in first place, followed by David Jeremy and Sean Hewitt. Sean having a fantastic outing here at Kyalami. JP Norkia coming home in fourth, and a great result for both Gijs and Clive in 5th and 6th respectively. Mario Da Silva, really strong showing at the end there. Sean Hepburn just squeaking ahead by a mere hundredths of a second over Nick Hodgson. Andy Fulton coming home in a well-deserved 3rd place. Rowan van der Walt just squeaking ahead of Jean de Toy. Lee Foster recovering into 13th position. Tinas Portas, a great result for him in the final race of the season. And Andre Duplessis just getting himself ahead of Davide Favo. Let's hear from the drivers now after race 3.
Yeah, we're all on 4 wheels and we can put the cars on the trailer.
How was that race?
This was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, no, thanks to Kyalami, thanks to the guys that came from Natal. It was really nice to mingle with the other classes. I had a really good race, really blessed, and yeah, it's been a really, really good 3 days and really nice. And thanks to everybody that put in the effort, came to support.
Start went well. I got away quite well, following Nick and some Class B cars, and then I think lap 2 or 3, Sean came past, but Ruan was always in my mirrors. At some point Andy also came past, and then Mario came into the mix with his Class X car, obviously a lot of more power on the straight, so I think between you and me we probably passed him 5, 6, 7 times. A bit frustrating, but still nice racing. He kept his place, he didn't outbreak himself, so yeah, he kept his place on the track. But that allowed Ruan to get onto my back, and the last 4 laps Ruan was all over. I was just driving in my mirrors, where's Ruan, where's Ruan, where's Ruan? And then on the last lap I went fast into the kink, went a bit wide, he waited for his time, and we came into the last corner and side by side, and he outbacked me to the ticket flag. So well done, Ruan.
Yeah, thanks on. Yeah, it was a chaotic weekend. I said to John, it's probably the best racing experience I've had in my life. Hectic at some stages. Last night's race with the sun being so low up at the top, it was hectic. But again, it just shows how all of us can have a good, clean race, side by side racing, give each other space, respect, and I'm looking forward to next year if this was going to be the end.
So that's us for 2025. Racing in Lotus Challenge is absolutely absolutely done, but do you want to race with us? You absolutely should want to race with us. Come and join us. Get some more information at the lotusregister.co.za and join up with the TLR to join in the Lotus Challenge racing for 2026. But until then, enjoy the off-season, enjoy the Christmas period, and we will see you soon enough.